All right, guys, we are going to take a look at this knife. This is the WE 702. Now, there's four different models of this. They're all the same model, but there's four different finishes. So you have the 702 Alpha, which is what this is. This one is the 702 Alpha. It is a titanium integral frame lock, nice blade. Looks a lot like a 601, the old original 601. Rides on bearings, sculpted pocket clip. So let's talk about this in just a second, but turn your volume down because here comes the music. So, like I said, if you watched the live feed this morning, you know I talked about the fact I was going to do this. So I'm just taking a little break here. So this is a 702. I have in hand the 702 Alpha. So this is M390. It is an integral. It is really comfortable. It's thin this way, but they have done a good job of making it very comfortable in hand. Pocket clip stands up a little bit more than I would like it to, but that's just because it's a sculpted clip. And you guys know I don't agree with everyone on this. I'm not a big fan of sculpted clips. But like I said, this comes in four different versions, and they're all listed as models. So the A is this one, which is just gray titanium, gold anodized hardware. It still does have this one. Still does have the old school star bit that you needed. But other than that, I mean, it is a great integral. So then you have the B, which is black handle and black blade with just whatever, I forget. I'm sorry, it's black handle with a plain blade, just like this. Black handle with this blade. You have the C, which is black handle, black blade, and satin. Right? And, I'm sorry, black and satin blade. So it's like this with a black and satin blade, sorry. And then you have the D. I tried to write this down, but I can't read my own handwriting. You have a black handle with a black and satin blade, where this part of the blade, and so the flats, on the black and satin blades, the flats are satined, and then you've got a black coating on the blade. So they all look really nice. They're all really comfortable. This one is really snappy and smooth. The detent on this one is, it's stiff. I'm not gonna lie, it's stiff, but there's no rattle in there. There's no detent play. And when it snaps open with authority. So we'll get this turned around here in just a second, and we'll take a good look at this from the top. And so you guys can get a good look at it. I really like this knife. I picked this up from someone that had one, and it's not mine. It has to go back, but we will take a good look at this in just a second. Guys, I don't think I will ever get used to how I have to stand to do this. So here we go. The WE 702 Alpha, in this case, I love that ano. I love that color. It looks so good. And I mean, they even did the piece that comes out here. The hardware is all the same color. This is an attractive knife. WE does stuff so well. WE Knives does. And like I said, guys, this is nothing to do with the fact that they're making my knife for me. This 100% is I'm having them make my knife for me because they do this good a job. So let's take a good look. So just on the outside, this has had some carry and been knocked around a bit, but you have the milled pattern going opposite directions, almost like, I don't know what you would call that fine pattern. I almost look at it like a herringbone or a fish bone kind of style, really fine milling lines. Same thing followed through onto the pocket clip here, and then you have the Wii logo that's set in that is actually a keyed pivot. So when you take that screw out, this is actually the head of the screw, and it sits, there's a logo in there, in a little slot in there, so that your logo is, once your logo is straight, it drops down in. So if you guys have ever taken one of these apart, you know that that pivot, is your keyed side of the pivot. So full frame lock, integral, lock bar insert, and then you have this beautifully shaped blade. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys, this reminds me so much of the 601 because of the blade shape and the way it is at the tip. They just didn't do the same thing. Well, if you hang on a second, let me go get it and we can compare them because I have it back now. So guys, as you can see, let me turn this over here a little bit, maybe lower you down. Actually, we'll just do it like this. So you can see they are very comparable in size, shape, blade design, but the grind is what sets them apart. This is the way the 601 came. This is the edge grind that was on a 601 when they came, but you can see they are very, very similar in size and shape, and we'll look at the weight here in a second, but these are real similar with the blade shape. The grind on this one, the swedge grind on this one's a little bit further down, but I mean, that is a very, very similar blade shape, very similar handle shape and style. And I think that's why I like this one, is because I love this knife a lot. This is the first Wii knife I ever bought. So action on it is actually better than my 601. Action on this one is nice and smooth. Smooth action on this one, but it just has a different sound. So I will say this one is significantly heavier. We'll look at that in a second, but listen to the sound difference. So that's got a nice snap to it. This one has something else. It's just more, it's just more. I don't know how to, that sounds good. Oop. That sounds better. Yeah, these have got, I mean, they all of them had pretty much the same pattern and design I saw. There was only one, but there is no internal milling on this to lighten it up. Let me see if I can get any light in there for you. But you can see that's not got anything. The 601 did. The 601 has skeletonization in there. You can see it's been pocketed to lighten this knife. So this knife is significantly heavier than this one. And to tell you the truth, the reason why is because, I mean, it's one piece. How are you really gonna mill, you know, off of center without being able to take it apart, because it is one solid piece of titanium. So hang on a second, we'll get my scale, we'll look at a weight comparison. I've got several knives we can use as a weight comparison that are known. Not everybody has a 601. 601 are getting hard to find. This is a discontinued model. So, and these are all out of stock everywhere I looked. All right, let me get this zeroed out. All right, so look at it in ounces. So we'll look at the 601 first. So the Wii 601, and it's not a light knife. It's a 4 5/8 ounces. The 702, 5 1/8. So it's heavy. It's heavier, and it's a noticeable difference in weight. But let's look at size and weight comparison. So this is a 940, so you can kind of see the size difference and comparison. Do it this way where you guys can see it a little bit better. It's not that much significantly larger, but you know, granted, this is an aluminum handled knife. But so what we say that was 5 1/8, and the Benchmade 940 is a very light knife, 2 7/8. So if you know, size and weight on a 940, you can kind of think to yourself how much heavier this is going to be. This does not just disappear in your pocket. That one really doesn't either. But, you know, they are very similar in design, aesthetic, everything about them is real similar. So if you like the 601, you're really going to like the 702 if you can find one anywhere. So the thing about it that I really like, I'm not a big fan of integrals because a lot of times you run into, there's just issues. It is not really a form, it's more of a form over function thing. It doesn't really make a big difference in a knife, except you don't have to have any hardware. But the fact is, you wind up with weight issues, you wind up with difficulty in disassembly. I will say that the frame lock integrals are much easier to work with and take apart, disassemble, clean, and basically do all those things with than, say, a axis lock, which I've done 3 now of the Anthems. And they are not as easy, anywhere near as easy. I found a trick to it. The disassembly is easy. It's the reassembly. So integrals, I'm probably going to do a video about how I feel about integrals. It's not the, let me tip this up. Sorry, guys. Ill prepared. It is not that I'm saying integrals are bad. I'm going to do a video about it because I disagree with a lot of people. Everybody seems to want an integral. I find them less appealing to me than, say, this, where I have a backspacer and hardware and I can separate it. But like I said, there's no chance that you're going to strip a screw if you're doing anything with this because it doesn't have it. It has 1 screw. It's really hard to strip a pivot screw. You have to really try. Now, I want to talk about sharpness on this because this has got to be, I think, one of the sharpest WE knives, factory edge, I've ever felt, and it's been used and I don't feel any chipping. So this edge that's on this is one of those knives that I've got to say, if I owned this knife, when it came, if it came with an edge like this, it would not be one of those ones that one of the first things I do is take off the factory edge. There's a lot of times that the knife comes directly to me if it's my knife and it gets one of my edges because I'm not a fan of factory edges. This is a very good edge and it's very consistent and very even. So most of the time if I get a knife and I immediately take the edge off, it's usually because there's an issue with the grind. Either it's too coarse of a grind for my taste or it's uneven. And I just know if it's uneven, it's just that edge is just gonna peel off like the first couple times I use it. So I just go ahead and I save myself the trouble and I do it that way. I'm not gonna carry a dull knife. So edge on these is great. It is, I will tell you now, very thick at the tip. It tapers, but it doesn't taper anywhere near. You can see it's thinner here than it is here, which is, you're not gonna break the tip off of this. But the thing is, if you need it for piercing anything, like say, you know, you had to get it in and pierce something with it, it's not gonna do near as good a job. And it is relatively thick behind the edge in comparison to this knife. This knife tapers, but if you, like I said, if you look, this blade's got a little bit broader blade. Not much, but ever so slightly broader blade than that, which gives it a little bit thinner profile behind the edge. So it's not gonna be as slicey as some knives, but it is robust. This is one of those ones where you can go out and you can really beat on it and you don't have to worry about the edge, the blade cracking or anything like that. And like I said, that's got a really robust thick tip. That's like, guys that pry on things with their knives, I don't recommend it, but if you do, that would be the style blade that I would recommend. So it doesn't have near the distal taper that other knives do. You can see it by looking down the spine. It is thick. It is thick all the way to there. And then there's a little bit of a taper and then the edge. So all in all, really amazing knife. M390 steel, so you know you're getting a good high quality steel. These were in S35VN, but like I've said before, WE's S35VN is amazing. And the fact that this is discontinued, if you like the lines of this knife, this is probably about as close as you're gonna get. They are so similar. So guys, that's it. Like I said, it's a really nice knife and it is striking. It is attractive. The way they've done this, it is a very attractive knife. Having looked at the other models, I would say that the 702 Alpha, the 702A, is probably my favorite version of it. And that's just because some knives just look better plain. Some knives just look better raw titanium with a little bit of an accent. My Fortis, it looks so much better just raw titanium, blast and tumble. In my opinion, that's just the way that knife needs to be. So that being said, guys, that's the end of the video. I love you guys. Like I said in all the videos, if you need sharpening, my email is always in the bottom down below. If you need refinishing, I forget to do this all the time. People forget that this is a business that I run, and so I've got to start doing that more often. But there's in the description, there is a email that you can get a hold of me, and then you get a hold of me and I'll provide you with a link to my price structure, and we'll get everything figured out. And then below that will be a link to my daughter's ice skating GoFundMe. If you guys like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. But please try to tell me why, and don't be abusive or I will block you. It's just a thing. In this corner here is going to be a video that YouTube thinks you like. I believe down here I'm gonna do a link to Steve, Super Steel Steve's channel. Up here will be a subscription link to my channel, and down here is going to be the Patreon link if you choose to do that. Guys, I can't tell you how much I enjoy doing these videos. It's just, I'm sorry that they're fewer and farther between, but I'm working on trying to get more content, and I'm gonna start shaving the time on the live feeds so I can turn that time into time for editing and making some more of these videos. But the fact is, I just haven't had a lot of stuff come in. So, I love you guys, and I'll see you. Don't know what happened, guys. Sorry about that. I was saying I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Go visit Super Steel Steve's channel. He needs more subscribers.